Manager for the Northeast region. I have stores anywhere from Maine to Maryland. It's a very big territory. Today we're going to get started. Before we get started though, let's do some housekeeping things. Right here we have a restroom. Another restroom we have out in the lobby area. We have exits here, and I believe we have an exit here, and of course the main exit there. At any time, if anybody feels they need to get up and move around, please just feel free to do so. If you think you need to use the restroom before we have a break, let me know. I have no problem with that, thank goodness. We will have a couple breaks this morning, and we will have a lunch this afternoon as well. So before we get started, let's introduce ourselves. We can start over here on this side. Just who you are and where you're from.
My name is Patty Andrews, and I'm from Phillipsburg. I'm a general manager.
Okay. We're all multi-unit managers today, by the way.
Okay. I'm Penny Barker. I'm with Lafker Enterprises.
Okay.
I'm Sharon Beagle. I'm from RDS Enterprise.
Okay.
Well, they're from RDS Enterprises as well.
Right. Great. Thank you. Glad you're all here today. These morning sessions, sometimes it's a little challenge to get here, but with the traffic and everything, but I'm glad that we all made it. Okay, again, like I said, this class here is a multi-unit management program, and this helps us get accustomed to the new position of being a multi-unit manager. You know, the biggest steps for people in this industry is to go from that position of general manager to multi-unit manager. And what we have recognized over the years that there's really not sufficient training to cover that. And the way our industry is growing, people every day are moving into these positions and they're getting very little feedback. So we developed this program to hopefully address those issues. Now what I want to do is I would like to start by having you guys share with me some information, basic stuff. Number one, what you think the most gratifying moment so far in your career as being a multi-unit manager is. Can you tell me that? Anybody?
I would say opening new stores is probably the most exciting thing.
Opening
for the whole team.
Okay, opening new stores. And for you being so courageous, you get to pick a gift here.
Thank you.
Yes.
I haven't seen this fella yet.
Thanks for not taking a loud one. Appreciate that. Kind of early. Okay, that's great. Opening new stores. Anyone else?
Exciting for me is promoting managers up. It's exciting for them, and it's exciting for me.
Promoting managers. I'll tell you, that was one of mine as well. Sitting down with someone and telling them that they're ready to move to the next level and to see the look in their eye.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good feeling. Also be ready though when you do that to say, I'm going to think about it. Not everybody just wants to jump into it like we did when we were offered those positions.
Exactly.
And that's good. They should think about it. It's a lot of responsibility to move to the next level. Anything else? Okay. One of my most gratifying moments as a multi-unit manager, I think, was when I saw my first store do well without me being there. Okay, I enjoyed that because now I felt, well, I've reached that plateau to where I can actually get some things accomplished without me being on the property. Good feeling. I was on vacation that week too. That was pretty neat. Okay, how about what you hope to gain from this session? Any particular traits you think you'd like to get from this?
I think you kind of just hit it on the head, that we can gain a store running sufficiently without us being there.
Okay. So you want to, we'll just call that delegation, okay? But of course, delegation, it will be on another level than what we're used to as store manager delegating. Of course, as a store manager, when we delegate, usually you're right there to make sure that it's followed up upon. You're there to follow up on it.
Right.
Anything else that you want to get out of this?
Maybe some sales building ideas.
Okay, sales building ideas. Okay. And what I would have liked to have gotten, if this had been available when I became multi-unit manager, was maybe a little bit of time management. Okay, it's not as easy to, pardon my writing. Time management is something that, we take for granted, and as a store manager, again, when you're within your four walls, everything, you can grasp at. But as a multi-unit manager, as you've all already discovered, you can't grasp beyond your four walls. Okay? You need to manage that other ways, and we're going to discuss that today, and hopefully you can all take something back with you. Thank you very much for sharing these with us. I appreciate it. And we're gonna go back to this a little later on. Okay? So right now I'm just going to flip this over, and the next thing I'd like to do is have you guys switch in your participant workbooks, if you would, to the Roman numeral 5. That's B. I know you know that, but. And while you're doing that, I'll talk a little bit about some challenges. Okay, we've all had challenges throughout our careers. And depending on what position you're in, you can really identify or can really dictate the challenges. They're all different, no matter what position you're in. And if you'll recall, when you were assistant manager going into the general manager's position, there were new challenges that you faced. I remember going from assistant manager to general manager, and the biggest challenge that I had was there's nobody on the property that I can really turn to. I'm it, and if I needed some help, I had to track my district manager down somewhere. Where as an assistant manager, yeah, that can be a challenge sometimes, right? And as an assistant manager, there was always somebody there, or phone call away, or he'll be in the morning, or she'll be in the morning, and I'll call, and we'll address that. But as again, when you move up to this next level, that doesn't happen. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like to put you in two groups. These two are fine, for convenience sakes. And I would like you to record the challenges that you saw as a restaurant manager, and we can take this side of the room, if you would, the challenges that you saw as a restaurant manager. And perhaps you can identify the challenges that you see as a multi-unit manager. And we'll just take a few minutes to do that. When you think you have enough, let me know. Enough that we can discuss.
Do you want just to do the multi-manager also? Or
No, just do the restaurant manager, and these guys will do the multi-unit manager. And what I would like to do is ask for a volunteer from each group to be the spokesperson. I heard you're going to be the spokesperson. Is that true? I just heard the whisper.
So did I.
Okay. Boy, too bad Sharon, if your name started with a P, this would be great. Patty, Penny, Paul, and Sharon.
Oh, yeah.
Patty, Penny, Paul, and Sharon.
You can call me Petunia.
Petunia.
That's my alter
works.
ego.
Oh,
When-
well,
when things
okay.
just start getting to me and everybody's saying,
I don't know that we want to
I
call you
changed my
that.
name to Petunia.
Really?
And they don't like to say Petunia, so I don't hear it as much.
I just don't like it when you call me Penelope.
Penelope?
Yeah. I say, what's your name? Penny. Oh, Penelope. No, it's not.
Okay, you look like you have enough there, Paul, that we can talk about. So who's going to be the spokesman on this side? Paul? Okay, great. So why don't you go ahead and read from your list? We'll start with you.
Sure. One of the biggest challenges is doing things consistently throughout the region.
Okay.
Especially when you have people that come from varying backgrounds and varying franchise groups, and you get a lot of different collective ideas, which is good for an organization, but then you pull it back in. And there's certain things that you must be doing the same way.
Okay.
And that's certainly one of the challenges, following your procedures and policy.
And again, I think you're going to see in this program that we're going to touch on really how you can reach out and try to make things a little more consistent throughout your area. So that's good. What else you got?
Hiring the right people for key positions. Because they got to be on.
That's right.
And most of the time you try to develop that within the organization, which is the best way to promote people. But there are times when you can't do that, and you've got to go to other sources. Another challenge would be local store marketing, and some of the markets are more difficult than the others. And I would have to say that staffing across the region in terms of the initiatives that you have to take per store to make sure that the staffing is there. And it's certainly a large part of the RM's job to do that, but you need to provide the different sources and the different creative ideas for them to get their staffing where it needs to be sometimes.
That's right. Okay. Okay, good. Those are some very good, strong points that you've made there. And I'm glad to see that you're writing them down on this side. In a little while, we're gonna see. There's another list that we'll get to, and I think you've covered a lot of those, which is good. But there won't be much for you to add to. Go ahead, you guys. What do you got?
We have
Restaurant manager side.
Those restaurant managers. Time. Managing our time. It's very, very important. Sometimes as managers, we don't have enough time to for ourselves, let alone make sure that things are being trained right and things are being done correctly. Organization is a challenge. Like Paul was saying, doing things correctly in a district, but also doing things correctly in your store, making sure that that everybody's doing the same thing, whether it be day, whether it be night. Some cases, stores say, "Oh, we do this on this night, and we do this on this night," but it should all be done the same. So organization, labor is a big challenge.
Labor is in controlling labor or
Controlling
obtaining labor?
Well, it could either be, well, actually we can obtain labor by staffing, we have staffing.
I see, okay.
So labor would be like controlling labor, like controlling the labor, making sure that we do the necessary adjustments according to projections. Another challenge is food cost, finding where, if our food cost is high, where it's going, try to pinpoint it. And the last one was staffing, as managers, making sure that we hire enough people to work the store.
Okay, okay. Again, those are indeed some challenges that we face. Now, well, let's talk about the differences between the two. Are there any? Do you see any major differences between the two?
No.
I don't think so.
Not really.
The only major difference is instead of like one store, you have multi-stores.
Okay. Okay, let me point out, there is a major difference though, okay, and it's kind of underlying. In fact, let's not point it out yet. Let's, tell you what, let's go ahead and let's switch over to our page 6, Roman numeral 6 in your participants workbook. Okay, and there you're going to see the responsibilities, okay, of the restaurant manager and the multi-unit manager responsibility. Okay, now these aren't the challenges, these are the responsibilities, but you can see that there is a difference in how these are addressed. Restaurant manager responsibilities. Patty or Penny, would you mind running down that list for us?
Tasks are due. Focuses on execution of tasks. Track day-to-day financial results. Store execution of POP. That's under tasks. People. manage crew and assistant managers, staffing the restaurant, train and develop crew, planning,
Okay, in planning, well, geography, what they're saying is you have one building to worry about. That's all that you have to
Okay.
worry about, geography.
okay, one building, four
Four
walls,
walls, mhm.
okay. Prioritize for properties of days are set by time of day, open, lunch, close, etc. Follow up, execute plan, do things yourself.
Okay, and you can see it's broken down into three, which I should have addressed: tasks, people, and planning. Okay, and you can, you'll see the differences. Just they're not very subtle. On this side, would one of you kindly read down the list?
The tasks are get done through others.
Mhm.
Focus is on planning and analysis. Track financial results week to week by period and or quarter. LSM marketing, which is local store marketing. On the people end, we manage a team of restaurant managers. This certainly is a big difference. Build the company management pipeline.
That's good. Yeah.
That's a big.
Okay, what does that mean to you?
Yes.
Build a pipeline.
Well, yeah.
What does that mean to you?
Well, that means that you need to have the resources available, that when you need managers, you need to have something to go to. Whether it be people that you worked with in the past, whether it be a list that you develop by handing out your business card when you go out to dinner with your family to different restaurants, whether it be putting an ad on the website, which is normally a big one today.
Mm-hmm.
But those are all different ways that you need to do that.
Okay. And again, you touched on some key areas just in that, and it's impossible to do that while you're running a slicer for one of your store managers. It's impossible to do that if you were the opening manager this morning because I couldn't get anyone to work in store XYZ yesterday. So you understand where we're getting with this, okay? Go ahead and continue.
Sure. The other people initiative is train and develop managers, which is crucial, of course. Planning, geography, multiple locations instead of just worrying about the one 4x4 walls in the restaurant as he described.
Mm-hmm.
Priorities are set by business analysis of the operations, sales, profits, and people, as well as geography, which is a big statement there.
There's a lot of planning involved in your
It's
position.
involved
That's
there.
right. That's right.
Develop and follow up on plans, on action plans, get things done through others.
There you go. That is your key, okay? That last line there can probably sum up the entire program, okay? Is to get things done through others. Okay, and that's the only way that you're going to survive in this position. When I first became multi-unit manager, we didn't have a program like this, and I remember fielding phone calls, oh good, now we have a district manager, area supervisor, district manager, multi-unit manager. We were known by many titles, some that I won't mention here, okay? However, you know, those phone calls, I have a wedding next Saturday and I can't find anybody to work. Would you please come and open my store for me on Saturday? I did that for probably the first 6 months of my position. And then I realized, wait a minute here, you know, this is getting out of hand. I'm not the floating manager. I'm not the swing manager. Okay, I cannot plan for my territory running your slicer for you. My time, your time is much better spent helping you find someone to do that. Okay, sitting down with your manager, having a meeting, having managers meetings once a week in your units, and planning, helping plan, getting your managers involved in the planning process. Okay, again, you're not going to plan the whole thing out. You're going to sit down with your managers, say, fine, this is June. We're getting into July. September's around the corner. What happens in September on our stores? Every September, what happens? Same thing happens, right? Kids go back to school. We have a gap of maybe about 4 to 5 weeks where we have a hard time getting people in there over lunch. That's when you really want to know that. You want to know that July, start thinking ahead, okay? Mm-hmm. You want your managers to start thinking ahead, and then that's less planning you need to do as well. We had a manager one time, she was great. You know, she hired, and I'll tell you, this is the way you need to be. End of July, a lady came in, she was looking for a position. She only wanted to work during the day, and they hired her. Did they need her? No, they didn't need her, because all the kids were there running the slicer. Right. And sometimes our store managers get a little caught up in, I'm covered today, I'm covered today, okay? But that's where you need to get in there and show them how to plan these things, okay? Today, that's fine. We need to look at tomorrow, we need to look at the day after tomorrow, and see exactly where we're going to be. Well, this lady worked out great. She wanted a position, she wanted to work during the day. We had hired her end of July, and some of the kids were a little upset, they lost their hours, but you know what? They went back to school, it didn't matter anymore. Then in September, I had that lady there. And I knew we had at least one position covered going into the hard staffing. I'm sure you all have nightmare stories in that regard. But Paul, you pointed out a lot of the challenges as a multi-unit manager. Now, can you just look at your list and can we compare it to the responsibilities and just see
Sure.
how, you know, are there any differences there? And if so, let's go ahead and plug them in to your list. Anything that you're missing. And the same thing on your side. If you see any major differences between what the restaurant manager challenge is and what the restaurant manager responsibilities are, let's discuss those now, actually. Paul, did you come up with something there?
Sure, some things on this side?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. You know, focusing on planning and
Mm-hmm.
analysis, which is a big part, as you just described. Tracking financial results, of course. Everybody wants to know where we are,
Mm-hmm.
so we know where we need to improve. Let's see, I should get that.
Let's talk about local store marketing real quick while you're there, okay? That's something that your store managers treat as a stepchild, and we know this. Why? Because they don't have time, in all reality. Okay, when they're on their way to the bank, sure, they need drop-off Market Fresh cards, or they may drop off banners for the box lunch program, but they're just doing that in passing, okay? We as multi-unit managers, that is part of our responsibility, part of our area of responsibility. And you should schedule that in every visit with a store. So say you're going to visit East Stroudsburg today, you know you want to be there by 11 o'clock so you can make sure that they're ready for lunch and that everything's just ready to flow. But really, you should probably get into that market 9:30, quarter to 10. See what you have happening out there. Who can you hit with flyers? Who isn't coming to our restaurant over lunch? And also in your planning, it's not a bad idea to skip lunch in your restaurant one day. Does that sound absurd? Okay, I'm the multi-unit manager, you mean I shouldn't be in one of my restaurants? That's correct. Where you should be is maybe one of your competitors' restaurants. Let's see what they're up to. What clientele are they getting? Are they getting all the scrub suits, okay, for lunch today? You're not going to know if they're getting all the scrub suits if you're in your store, where you need to be 99.9% of the time. Don't go back and say, well, they told me at that class that I should be at the next store in Wendy's over lunch every day. That's not what we're talking about here. But you want to see who's capturing that business. And then you use that information. Come back out, fine. All the scrub suits are going to Wendy's, that VA hospital down the road. Why aren't we getting that? That's your target next time you're in the market. See if you can get in there, flyers, whatnot. What else you got on the list, the differences?
We also have well, I don't know if we mentioned this, but yeah, obviously getting things done through people is probably the biggest thing that we do, which is delegation. Making sure, the other key to that is making sure you're delegating to the right person, the right task to the right person.
Absolutely.
Because you get burned if you don't.
Yeah.
And again, you know, you're going to use, it's not that, you know, when we say there's a big difference, there is a big difference, but your basic management principles will always be the same, okay? Whether you're in a store management position or whether you're in a multi-unit management position. You would not delegate responsibility to someone in a store management position. That little mousy girl that doesn't speak very highly, she's not going to be on your front line. You know that, okay? Same thing with one of your assistant managers that may not be as dependable as you would like them to be. Of course, if they were that undependable, they wouldn't be there. So you may not give him or her a particular assignment that you may question whether it will be done on time.
Right.
So you're right. Picking the right person, no matter what position you're in, that's vital. And you'll see a lot of parallels, like I said, in your management styles. Absolutely, that's not going to change. Except if you're an extremely hands-on manager. Then that needs to change, because you need to back off a little bit.
Correct.
Okay. How about on your side, restaurant manager's side? Did you see any differences between the challenges and the responsibilities? Well, again, you know, when you look at the dues, I mean, I think you probably, I think you hit them all as well. A lot of it is dues, and that's what the managers do. They do. You know, and the multi-unit managers do through others, and that's really to sum things up. The due part, even, obviously you know that you need to delegate to within your area, okay? That doesn't mean you as a restaurant manager has to physically do everything in your store. It's up to you to get it done. It's up to these guys to point out to you, this is what needs to be done. It's not up to the multi-unit manager to get in there. And I'm begging you, don't get caught up in that as a multi-unit manager. It's very easy to get caught up into that. I pulled into, you know, Sharon's store now. It's been 3 weeks in a row, and I've asked her to pull those weeds under that marquee. Darn it, I'm pulling them myself today. Okay, that's not a good thing to do. As a rule of thumb, it's not a good thing to do. Okay, I mean, I personally have done that only to prove a point, but only to managers that I know will get it. Okay, if Sharon was the type of manager, which she's not, if Sharon was the type of manager that was lazy and looked for someone to do the work for them all the time, then you never want to do that. But if Sharon's the type of manager that, I don't want to use the word needs to be embarrassed into getting the work done, that may sometimes get her over the edge. My God, I can't believe my supervisor had to come in here and pull my weeds for me. This will never happen again. You can only do that with an individual that isn't going to expect that from you. And that can be done. I've done that. There was a baseboard that I had to clean. Oh, God. Every day I went in, the baseboard was dirty, Finally, I went in one day, I just got a bucket and I scrubbed that baseboard. The manager's face turned beet red. What are you doing? What are you doing? I said, well, I want the baseboard clean. Okay? The baseboard was never a problem again in that store. Never a problem again in that store. So, but to sum things up, there are some differences. Your management style should never change. Your basic management principles, I should say, should never change. Okay? Delegation. If you do not delegate, you will not survive in that position. Are there any questions?
I don't think so.
No? Okay, well, you guys, good luck in your positions, and if you ever need anything, just give me a call, and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you if I can. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.